Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trade Station Masterclass. Great having you again. My name is Jesus Nava, Director of Client Training and Education for Trade Station Securities. And it's a pleasure to be here talking about Trade Station technology. This week is the summit. It's Trade Station Securities Spring Summit. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to take a look at the lineup of speakers. It starts tomorrow. So it's 3 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, everyone. Seeing you there. So make sure that you register for that. Let me go ahead and share the links if you haven't seen them. All right. Here's the direct registration link, and here is the link to the summit where you can find additional information on some of the topics that we're going to cover during the summit. Okay, so for masterclass this week, we're going to have a session today, and we're going to have our sessions on Friday. That way we free up the schedule so that we can all concentrate and attend the summit. So I appreciate your support there. Let's go ahead and get started on this topic. It's advanced order entry features. So we're going to talk about some of those advanced features that you can tag along to an order that are, kind of hidden on the TradeStation platform. So let's go ahead and discuss them and try to submit some trade examples on the trading simulator to see how they work and maybe answer and address some of your questions about that functionality. Before we get started, the usual disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that we talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation, and also that active trading is not suitable for everyone. Also keep in mind that past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. And for additional information on these disclosures, visit www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Let me switch over to my TradeStation platform, and let's get started with knowing exactly where those advanced order features are. Now, right here at the very top, I'm going to dock my position graph right here at the top of my trade station. And I'm also going to dock my trade bar, because for the most part, we're going to use the trade bar to submit some of these advanced order options. Now, what I'm talking about here is anything that is in this advanced button when you go to the trade bar. So you click on it, and it shows you a bunch of check boxes that you can turn on or off, depending on what behavior you want the order to have. Now, those available options that you can select are going to change depending on the asset class. So if we go to options, there's not as many check boxes as you have on the equities tab. And if you go to the futures tab, there's even less than that, because some of these advanced order entry options are available on the TradeStation platform, but they're managed by market makers and ECNs. And we're just giving you the ability to enable them on the platform. But these are features and functionality that a lot of times are offered by the exchange itself, all right? That's if you're using the trade bar right here on the top. If you're using a chart analysis, of course, if you're placing trades from a chart and you go here to chart trading, you're not going to find advanced order features in here. So unfortunately, for those of you that are fans of chart trading, you don't have advanced features. One of the things that you probably have access to from here are trailing stops, because trailing stops are built into chart trading. Trailing stops, it's one of those things that is part of the advanced group. I would have actually removed trailing stops from there, because trailing stop is just a type of order, right? But still, it doesn't matter where the feature is, as long as we know where it is and we're able to use it. So we're going to talk about trailing stops in a moment. But if you're on chart trading, you don't have access to these check boxes that you have here on the very top. If you're a stock trader on futures, same. Some of the ones that are not part of chart trading are show only and if touched. All right. And if you are a fan of the matrix, let's pull the matrix up. All right, this is the matrix window. I haven't used the matrix in a while. Probably need a class on that or something. So this is the matrix. And in order for you to access the checkboxes that are up here on the trade bar, we must right click on the matrix, go to settings, and in the settings menu, you have the option for advanced trade bar. When we do that, it just opens up a second kind of vertical bar on the right-hand side, but showing you all the checkboxes that are also visible on the trade bar. So again, that's right-click on the matrix, settings, and you have the advanced trade bar. It may require you to move, the window around so these are all visible. And if you mistakenly drag one of these edges, you may find that it looks like this, and then you're gonna come back to the matrix and say, my matrix is broken. I only see white boxes. Sometimes we may click and drag on things accidentally. So just be aware that this is a bar that can be adjusted in width. The same goes for, this trade bar on the right-hand side. Sometimes we may just move things around like that and inadvertently, resize these trade bars, then they don't make any sense, right? All right, just wanted to give you a little bit of parentheses there just in case it happens to you. Okay, so let me go ahead and close that because I'm going to, since I already showed you where you can find these advanced order entry checkboxes on the order entry tools. Unless I'm missing one, let me know if I'm missing any of the tools that you use in TradeStation to place trades, but I think that's pretty much it. Let's go and take a look at each one of the checkboxes that are up there. Let me open up a trade manager window so that we can follow the orders that I'm placing and maybe see some functionality or confirm the functionality. I haven't used them in a while, so I may send orders that get rejected. That's okay. We're all in the same game. And the whole idea here is to do this on the trading simulator to do some testing before you use any of these features, online. On your live account. So let's talk about the first checkbox up here, activation rules. Activation rules are is something on TradeStation that makes your order get activated based on rules that you specify. If I click, by the way, this little button with the 3 dots is part of the activation rule feature. So if you click on it, it gets you to the customizing dialog that allows you to set your rules. There are 2 types of activation rules you can use on TradeStation. You have a time activation, and then you have a price activation. Can you turn them both at the same time? For sure, you can, because you can have something that is price activated and also time activated. Both conditions would have to be true if you check the 2 checkboxes. There's no or functionality. So I wish there was, so that you could have like okay, if the time is this, or if the price is this, then fill the order. But we don't have something like that. We would have to, if you really wanted to have something that has that dual, activation rule, where you have something that's time activated and something that it's price activated, we may have to work with a custom OCO, which are 2 orders. One order looks at time, the other order looks at price. So if either one gets filled, then the other side gets canceled. But in here, if you check the 2 boxes, you're actually activating 2 rules, and they both have to be true in order for the order to be activated. In what circumstances would you use a time activated rule? Well, I can think of maybe market volatility. Maybe you want to avoid periods of market volatility. Let's say at the opening of the market, you just want to make sure that you let the price play out a little bit and see where it falls, after the spikes in volatility at the opening of the market. And you say, well, I want to activate this order at 10 a.m., 30 minutes after the market open, or at 10:30, whatever the time is that you want to activate an order, you can pretty much put it in there. What this doesn't work as is a future date activation. Maybe you're thinking about reports that are upcoming, and you want to say, well, I want to activate an order for tomorrow at the time that the report comes out. Doesn't work that way because the time activation rules are for the current trading session. So let's say, for example, right now it's 12:40 in the afternoon. So let's like midday for the trading session. If I say, okay, activate an order at 9 in the morning. If I say that, activate an order at 9 in the morning, it's going to say, well, 9 in the morning is already passed. If you send in an order with this activation rule, it'll activate it immediately. In fact, let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to cancel out of this. And let's suppose that I'm looking at Apple. Apple's trading at 142. I'm going to send an order at 140. And I want that order to be, let's suppose that I wanted to activate this order for a time of, I'm going to do 10 a.m. Okay, so 10 a.m. right there in my time activation. If I click OK, and I try to buy this, you see it says the activation rule that you specified will trigger immediately. Do you want to place this order? There is a a confirmation for activations that if you do this, it'll catch you, because I may be under the impression, well, it's already almost 1 p.m. If I choose a time of 10, that'll do it for tomorrow. No, it doesn't work that way. It'll look at 10 a.m. as if the time has already passed. So the activation will just activate it immediately. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about time. It doesn't work for tomorrow's time. It works for today's time. So I can activate a trade maybe for 2 in the afternoon. That's something that I can do. I can say 2 p.m. Okay, so let me go ahead and buy it. So now I have my order waiting here. This is my Apple order waiting to buy 100 shares at $140. Is not sent. Look at the order. It is sent. It is received, but with an activation rule. Okay. So even if we're looking for a time activation, so even if the price drops to what I want, then this would not get filled because we have that time activation. I should have chosen a different type of order. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to cancel this order so you can see it in action. So let's suppose that I want to do a market order instead. If I go to the activation rule and I set it to 2 p.m., I can buy it. And now this is a clear order that is just waiting for something to happen. Now, this is a market order. So under normal circumstances, I should have gotten filled immediately, but I'm not getting filled because under advanced, I have a time activation of 2 p.m. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's just leave that order open there. Doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and switch the symbol. I'm going to go here to Home Depot. So Home Depot trading at 286. Is that what the price of Home Depot is? It seems so. Okay, so let me go here to activation rule. And we already understand the time. So let's go ahead and do price activation. Under price activation, I can select either the same symbol that I'm looking at. Let's say, for example, that I'm looking at Home Depot. I can add it. Or I can choose other symbols related to Home Depot. Maybe you're looking at an index that includes Home Depot. Maybe you're going to base decisions on that. Or you can say, well, if Home Depot is trading at, let's suppose that it trades below, let's say there, 286, 285. If it trades below 285, okay, I'm going to be a buyer at 284.95. Okay, so an interesting way of submitting a trade. What I'm waiting for is for Home Depot to drop to 285. And if it does drop to 85, then I'm submitting my order at 284.95, a nickel below that. Maybe it is a breakout that you're waiting for. Maybe the breakout it is at 285.50 or 286, and you're waiting for Home Depot to drop. But if it goes a little bit lower, meaning that it's confirmed your breakout, maybe you're in just a few pennies lower. So it's just an example, but you can see that you can set a price activation on your order. Let me go ahead and send it. So now this is my Home Depot order, waiting to get filled at 284.95, only if, let me go here to the advanced column, only if Home Depot is less than 285. All right, let's talk about STT because it's showing up in here and some of you may have questions about what that means. STT stands for single trade tick. Where do I find where any of these acronyms or abbreviations stand for? Well, those are going to be part of, let me show you a quick way where you can find out. Right click on the order bar anywhere on the gray space and go to settings and then click on order entry preferences. In the triggers, and we have triggers for equities, triggers for options, and we have triggers for futures. So that's where you find those abbreviated type of triggers. So for equities, since I'm using Home Depot and I go to triggers, I can see that STT stands for single trade tick. Now these are for New York Stock Exchange and American Stock Exchange. These are for NASDAQ. Depending on which symbol you're trading, just go to the drop down and it gives you all the different abbreviations that could appear inside of that, inside of those parentheses. For the most part, what you're going to see is STT, which is single trade tick, meaning that as soon as the symbol trades at the price that you specify, that's considered a single trade tick. And that's what it's looking for. Of course, you can change the behavior. The only way that you would see something different than STT would be if you come here and change the behavior. Why would you want to change the behavior? A lot of people never do. They just stick to STT because that's the behavior you're looking for. However, if you want to confirm your price by double checking where the bid and asks are, or how many times it trades at the price you want, then you can consider changing it. So for example, the next one down the list is STTN, which is single trade tick within NBBO. NBBO, if you're not familiar with NBBO, it stands for National Best Bid Offer. That's what NBBO means. So not only are you looking for the single trade tick to happen, but you're also wanting that price to be within the national best bid and offer, which is interesting because now not only you want to take a look at the trading price, which could be potentially could be outside of the bid and ask range, maybe in a fast moving market, prices are just flying out of line, and then you may be getting filled outside of what the bid and asks are. If that were to happen, it would trigger your order because what we're looking for is just the STT. But STTN does a double check where it says, not only do I want the price to be traded, I also want that price to be within the national best bid and offer. So it's like a double check just to make sure that the price is right in the sense that it is valid and it's not just a flying out of whack. Does it delay the order? Not something that you should be concerned of because it's a quick double check. And if it doesn't, if the price that you don't want, if you price that you want is not within the NBBO, then it just doesn't fill the order until it is. It doesn't cancel the order, it just waits and waits for the price that you specify to also be reflected within the best bid and best ask. Are there chances that it won't ever? Maybe, but those are things that you have to think about. And should I change the behavior here? Should I change my trigger type? A decision that you have to make. Again, STT is a default. That's just a single trade tick. Some other, variations here, they look at bid and ask, not traded price. Some of them look at a double trade or a twice trade. Double trade, meaning one after the other. Twice trade, meaning that it doesn't have to be consecutive trading at that price. But you get the idea. You're changing the way that these triggers happen. And of course, when we look at the activation rule and it's looking at a price, you have to tell, what is the trigger? Is it a traded price? Is it the bid? Is it the ask? So you can go in there and make the change if you want. Okay, so that's my order for Home Depot. Let's go over here to options and pull up an option symbol. Let's do, there are activation rules in Option Station Pro. So let me go there rather and go here to Option Station Pro. Okay. I may want to, this is, what symbol is this? This is Apple. Okay, this is Apple. Let's say, for example, that I want to buy, the price is 142. If the price drops to 142 even, so let's take a look. So let's say that we're interested in this 142 call quoted at $5.80. Now I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to say I'm going to buy it at market and set an activation rule only if the price of Apple, let me add it, it's below 142. Take a look, the trigger type. We have access to that same STT, single trade tick, and we have a little drop down that allows us to switch it from within the order bar, which is convenient. We don't have that on the TradeStation platform, only here in Option Station Pro. I'm gonna say okay, and then place the order. So the order goes, and if I go back to TradeStation, I should see it there. There it is. Let me scroll to the left. So this is an Apple call with a strike price of 142. It's a market order, but it's just waiting for, let's look at the advanced column, it's waiting for Apple to be less than 142. So if it drops below 142, then I'm a buyer of that call with a strike of 142. It's a market order, so it's open to whatever price is being traded at that moment, which I'm not sure, what the price is going to be when Apple drops below 142, but that's something that we can guesstimate, what the price is going to be, or just set it to a market order since we have no idea what it's going to be, right? All right. So that's activation rules. That's time activation, price activation. I said that both can be used at the same time for orders if you wanted to. You can also do multiple symbol conditions. So in this order, for example, let me cancel this order. This is cancel this buy order. If I go back to Option Station Pro and I say the same thing, let's say this is a market order, activation rule. I'm waiting for the price of Apple to be less than 142. And I'm going to add another one. I want to add the symbol that I'm trading, which is, what's the symbol that I'm trading? Well, it's AAPL. This is 2206. Actually, no, it's, how is it? Well, the date is month, day, year, month. I think it's year, 22, month, which is June. I thought the symbol was visible somewhere. I guess I'm missing it, but so June and then 17, it's a call, and then we are at a strike price of 142. I'm going to add it. So I see the price in here. So it's $5.80, and the price needs to be less than, I don't know, 650. Maybe I don't want to pay more than 650. And notice that, okay, Apple drops below 142, and the call itself is not more than $6.50. At least I have a measurement to say I'm not open to a market order. Well, I'm open to a market order, but only within the price conditions that I want. I'm going to click OK and then place that trade. There we go. So now if I go back to TradeStation, the order is submitted. But now when I look at the advanced order tab, it has two price conditions. It's looking at the price of Apple, less than 142, and it's looking at the price of the call, less than $6.50. All right. Interesting way of sending an order with the combined price activation. Let's take a look at next checkbox. I'm going to go back here to equities. All or none. Let me uncheck activation rule. All or none, it's the exchange's way of getting you filled on the entirety of your order. Sometimes if you have a large quantity of shares that you want to get filled on, then you can request exchange to ignore any partial fills. Don't fill me partially. I want to get filled on all the shares that I want. And if I'm not filled on all the shares that I want, then I don't want the position. So that's what all or none means. You can get a similar behavior if you go here to the duration, and there is a FOK. FOK, a very similar duration or very similar behavior where you're getting filled on the entirety of the order. Fill or kill has that same, similar, not the same, because in the duration FOK, if it doesn't find the entirety of your order, then it's going to cancel the order. If you send it with an all or none, the order remains active, waiting for the full quantity to be executed. So that's the difference between the two. They're waiting for a fill on the entire, size of your order, but one cancels the order right after, and the other one keeps it there until the shares become available. That's very interesting. Okay, so that's all or none. Very simple, very straightforward. So since I'm connected to a simulator, a lot of the orders that I submit here are going to be filled regardless. But if you are trading live and you don't want to deal with partial fills, you can just check that box and you'll get filled on the entire quantity. For trailing stops, you can see that trailing stops is grayed out here. This is something that I always tell TradeStation users to be aware of and keep in the back of your minds, because when you come here and you need a trailing stop quickly, then this is grayed out because and only because you have to switch the type of order. The type of order is right here in this drop down, and it's set to limit at the moment. There's no way that we can select a trailing stop with a limit order. So we have to make some switches here. I would have liked for this to be differently, in the sense that if you check it to give you some sort of warning and say, hey, make sure that if you're going to be sending a trailing stop, you change the order type to stop. But it's just grayed out. So it's not 100% intuitive, but that's why I want you guys to remember that it is grayed out because of the order type. If I set the order type to stop market, then you can see that trailing stop becomes available. And other checkboxes become grayed out, because that's another thing. Depending on your selections inside of the trade bar, some of the checkboxes are going to be available and some are not. So just be mindful of that. The fact that it's grayed out is not because we're turning off the feature for you. It's just that the feature is not supported for the type of order that you are submitting. But here I can send a trailing stop on any, of my open positions, or even try to enter with a trailing stop. Let me give you an example. So I'll change the symbol here to Disney. Disney is trading at $104.75. I'm going to send an order at 105. Well, actually, whatever you put in here doesn't really matter, because if you do trailing stop here and you set it to 5 cents, your trailing stop will just stay 5 cents away from the current trading price. Let's just leave it at 5 cents. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy it. So this is a buy trailing stop. What did I just do? Okay. Oh, because I was looking at the wrong column. Okay. Okay, so this is my Disney order. I got filled immediately, so let me go ahead and try to place that order again so we can, I mean, Disney is moving pretty fast, so let me go ahead and close this at market. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the trailing stop to 25 cents. Okay, I'm gonna buy it again. This is my order for Disney. Look at my price, 104.87. The price right now is 104.65. And the reason for that is because I'm 25 cents above the current trading price. The nice thing about a buy trailing stop is that as the market moves down, my buy stop will move down with it. Remember that trailing stops always move in your favor. So if you're buying, a move to a lower price, of course, is in your favor, and your order will move along with it. Of course, if it starts spiking up, the order is static, it will not move up, and you'll get filled. But this is a nice way of you, taking advantage of any downward movement that is left on any security. Put a buy stop above it, and if you want to go long, you can always put a buy trailing stop above, and it'll trail with the market as it goes in your favor. So interesting way of entering the market with a trailing stop. A lot of times, we think about trailing stops and we think of protective, trailing stops, and that's fine. You can use them in that way. But here I just submitted a trailing stop to enter the market, which is also a different way of submitting an order. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so those are trailing stops. If I had an open position, let me change this to Johnson and Johnson. Okay, trading at 179. Let me buy this at, well, let me uncheck trailing stops. Notice how I had trailing stops checked. I come over here to order type and the rest are grayed out. So always, remember, whatever I check here affects everything else. And I don't have the ability to send a market order because trailing stops is selected here. I'm going to uncheck it, go to market order. I'm just going to buy 100 shares of Johnson and Johnson. And I have them here. What price did I get filled at? I got filled at 179.24. So I can use, a trailing stop in the same way that, or in a protective way. Trailing stop, let's set it to 50 cents. And I'm going to say sell those 100 shares with a trailing stop. So now I have my trailing stop right here. My stop is at 178.72, 50 cents away from the last traded price. And if the market starts moving up, then my stop will follow it, because remember, this is a selling transaction. I'm going to sell Johnson & Johnson. So if the price goes higher, of course, that's in my favor and it'll move with it. But if it goes against me going down, then my stop is static and it'll just get me out. So a little bit about, protective stops and ways of entering the market with a trailing stop. An if touched order, which is grayed out right here because I need a limit order for that. It can be limit or market. So if touched is available for limit or market. It's very, an if touched order or a market if touched is very similar to a limit order. I say similar, but not the same, because a limit order, you're putting a condition in price. And here, what I'm waiting for is just the market to touch a certain price to get in. And I believe that if touched price can be, let's see what the limitations are. So let me change the symbol here to Intel. All right, so Intel trading at $41. Let me say if touched, this is the market if touched. And let's say, for example, if it touches 42, then I want to buy. Okay, so there are some limitations in price. I can clearly see that if you try to do a price that is higher, it will not work. It'll be rejected. And if you go to the messages tab, it'll tell you specifically why. And you can see that right here at the top, the reason says invalid touch price. If touch price must be below, if touched price must be below the current market. Of course, in a buy transaction, and a selling transaction, of course, has to be above the current market. let's go back here to orders, and let's say the other side. Let me do 41. I got filled on something, not really sure what it was. I can see here, I bought the Apple 142 call. Oh, that's interesting. So it met both conditions, right? Apple dropped. What's Apple trading at? Apple right here. Apple last trade price 142. So it did drop below 142. So it got me into that call. Interesting. So right here for Intel, if I put in a price of 41, which is below the last traded price, then it should work. I'm going to buy Intel, and here it is. It's going to buy Intel at market if the price, I'll have to go to the advanced order here, is, if it's touched. If you find yourself using the advanced order column a lot just to confirm the order, I would rearrange some columns here. So I would go here to settings, columns, and I would say for the selected, I don't need the trade size or the trade exchange. I don't need the bid or the bid size or the ask size or the group name or the trigger buy. I do need advanced. So over here towards the top, let's see. I don't need the spread column. Maybe I'm not trading spreads. Quantity filled, quantity filled, quantity left. Maybe I don't need quantity left. Filled, price, limit. Okay, those are okay. Okay, so it condenses everything. And you can see that I see the advanced information on the far right, which allows me to not have to scroll left and right whenever I'm looking or trading something. All right, so now I can look at my Intel order up here. It's a market order, but it's waiting for the price to be touched at 41. Now, of course, that can be a limit order or a market order. I chose a market so you can see the order just waiting there and not getting filled, okay, because it has that condition. That's the if touched, very simple, very straightforward, okay? Show only. Show only, of course, is gonna work with the limit order type. Notice that I can check it now. Show only is an interesting way of sending an order because in markets that are lightly traded, sometimes submitting an order that is large may have an undue effect on where the market's headed, For example, I don't have any lightly traded stocks in mind, but if you were trading something, let me go here to, let's see. Let me go here to the hot lists. Sometimes I get ideas from the hot lists. Okay. These are percent gainers for one day. Let me sort by the trades. Actually, these cannot be sorted. So these are symbols. Let me copy all these symbols. These are 100 symbols. Maybe this is not going to work, but let's see. Radar screen. Let's put them all here. All right, I'm going to sort by volume. All right. Here's one. Coca-Cola with the symbol COKE. Let's look at the market depth for Coke. All right, so you see market depth here. Now this is a symbol that's trading at $540. Not cheap, it's not a cheap stock. But if you look at the prices here and the size that's being offered, on the bid side and the ask side. So the ask, has 2 at the very top, 3, 6, the sizes here are not that much. So if I send a big order, like saying, I want Coke, but I want, maybe if my account can support that, 1,000 shares of Coke at $500 each, that's going to be, over $500,000. But if I send 1,000 shares here, it's going to show up here as a bid for 1,000. Of course, it's going to stand out. Of course, it's different than most of the prices that are shown in here. No, it's going to attract attention, not only attract attention, but as it starts getting filled, for example, if I send a market order on Coke for 1,000 shares, it's going to fill all this side up until, it fills all these orders. So that's going to have an effect on the last traded price. Of course, I'm connected to a simulator, so I won't see this in a live setting, but you get the idea. So as a trader, I may want to have certain control over how many shares are shown to the market. Maybe I come here, okay, I want 1,000 shares of Coke, but I want to show only 100. I see some participants here that are, bidding or offering 100 shares at a time. So my order is not going to be so much different than everything that is in there. And that's the way that you control how many shares are shown to everyone. Can anybody use this? Of course. All trading platforms offer this functionality, so you can control how many shares are visible. You don't have to, show all your intentions. You can, have some control over that. Show only, and that's available for futures as well. Show only. By the way, if touched, show only, activation rule, and trailing stops are the only ones that are available for futures. That's why we are in the equities tab, showing you a little bit more of those checkboxes. Discretionary. I like discretionary because discretionary is kind of tricking the market in a way that you send an order at a specific price, but deep down you're saying, I'm willing to pay a little bit more, but I don't want to show it to the market. So it's a way of maybe and again, I go back to a lightly traded symbol. Let's go back to Coke. A lightly traded symbol, because for Coke, let me create that market depth again. Market depth. And we may use this as an example. Let me close the trade bar right here at the bottom. Let me resize this so that it's not distracting. All right, so this is my market depth. You can see that 538.88 is the best bid. 541.75 is the best ask. So it's a very, the spread is pretty wide. We're talking about a $2.87 spread. So I could say, I'm willing to pay, $2 extra for Coke. When I know that the best bid is 538, I can say, well, I'm willing to pay 540. One thing that you can do is choose this discretionary, where you can say, I'm willing to pay $1.12 more. And then say, discretionary, my limit price must be between 0.01 and 1. Okay, but you cannot go and you cannot go above 1. So I'm just gonna put in a $1 more. So you're willing to pay $1 more than this price. I can not than this price, it's your price. So I'm gonna put in a price of $540. So you put in a price of your order, 540, but you're willing to pay $1 more, so 141. I'm going to send that order to buy, and there it is. You see, of course, this is not the real. It's not showing up in the real market depth because it's not hitting the exchanges on the simulator. But you can trick other traders by saying, I'm willing to pay 140, but in reality, you're willing to pay 141. This is a discretionary order, and the market maker or ECN that is handling your order knows that you're willing to pay a little bit more. So if the selling side says, well, we're going to put in an ask for 541, well, it'll hit you and it'll fill you because you have the discretion, or you've given the market maker a discretion to change your price up to $1 from your limit price. Interesting, huh? If I go over here and I look at my Coke order, yes, my limit price is 540, but there's a discretion of $1 that can be added to my price. So yes, when you have these, when you're playing with a spread between bid and ask, you can do that and use that as a way of being able to have some flexibility on your price. I mean, you can do it with any stock. It doesn't have to have a wide spread, but you have that cushion that allows you to get filled at a higher or lower price if you want to, than the price that you specified in your order. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how discretionary works. You have a non-display. Non-display outright pretty much says what it does. It does not display the order. So yes, you can hide your order from the market depth window. So when anybody looks at market depth and you see the bids and asks that are coming in the market, that's definitely not everything. I just got filled in Coke. We'll take a look at the price. That is definitely not everything that is happening in the market, because as you have this little checkbox that says non-display and you're hiding your order, all traders have that same checkbox and they can hide your order. So if there's a reason why you will want to hide your order, maybe because, again, we talked about the effect that it would have on the price of the security. If it was a light traded stock, maybe that's one reason to hide it. Let's go back here to my order, Coke. Okay, I wanted 540. Take a look at the price that I got filled at, 539.55. It got me a better price. That's pretty cool. We'll look at the market depth here. So it did drop. It dropped, significantly, and it was able to get me filled without having to use my discretion. So that's interesting. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. And the last one that I have here is pegging. Pegging is a way for you to automatically change your bid price as the market ticks up and down, and pegging or follow the best bid. So let me go ahead and do it for Coke for a moment and see if we're able to see. Let me close this Coke position and submit another order that pegs to the best bid or ask. I'm going to buy this. So notice that it's 542.27. Oh, didn't want to do that. Let me cancel this order. What I want is to do yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So, let's see. 140.41. All right, I'm going to peg it. So what that does is that I have my limit price of 140.41, but it pegs the order to the best bid, in this case 536, which means that I'm willing to pay 536.66 up to my limit price. So this order that I just submitted with a limit price of 540.41, when you look at the market depth, of course, if it had hit the market depth, because this is only the simulator, but the market maker and ECN has instructions that my order will sit there at the best bid, and it'll update to the best bid until I get filled. And I'll get filled up until my limit price. So if it goes beyond my limit price of 540.41, then it doesn't get filled at all. So that's what pegging does. Interesting behavior as well. I want everybody to use that, practice it on the simulator, so that you know the functionality before you use in your live account. But pegging is a good way for you to always be refreshed on the best bid or the best ask up until a level. In this case, my level was 540.41, but I'm looking at a bid of 536, which would be the price of my order based on that pegging condition. Okay, do we have any questions on any of these features? I usually don't go over book only and add liquidity, because those are a little bit more far advanced, and it all depends on the symbol that you're trading to. So notice that for Coke, those two features are not available. But if I go to Apple, for example, they're not available for that either. So I think it's got to do with a specific, yeah, it's got to do with a specific route. So in your trading, if you are used to just using intelligent, those additional, check boxes are going to be grayed out. If you go here to route and you specify, for example, Amex, American Stock Exchange, or ARCA, those type of ECNs will give you the ability to have a book only option that pretty much, gives some, you're giving control over your order to the market maker or ECN for them to play a little bit around with your order and make sure that it's paired up with another, seller or buyer, depending on which side of the market you're in. But usually not used on a regular, trading methodology. Right. Again, Matthew, for futures, you only have a set of check boxes. For specifically, you have activation rules, trailing stops if touched, and show only. So the other ones that we have here, like discretionary, pegging, non-display, book only, those are only available for equities, not because TradeStation provides them, it's just because ECNs and market makers have this functionality in place, and you're able to select those features for your order before sending them. James says, regarding routing, how do we know we're getting the best price with knowing that TradeStation sells the order flow? As if understood. Yes, the intelligent routing, it's TradeStation's own technology on the server side that routes your order, not necessarily to, I mean, the way that it's described is going to try to pair you up with the best possible execution. Of course, if you're sending orders with a limit price, you're trying to get that price or better. So the question is, how do you know that you're getting the best price? Well, there's got to be some transparency in regards to what TradeStation is doing when sending your order. Now, specifically selecting an exchange, of course, limits your order in the sense that you're only trying to hit bids and ask of a specific market maker. By choosing intelligent, you are pretty much exposed to all ECNs and market makers, and you can get a fill, a more efficient fill, because we have this conglomerate of ECNs and market makers, and we have all their liquidity pretty much put together for you to get a fill. So intelligent is going to be, in that sense, a more efficient execution than selecting a specific exchange. Now, does it really matter? Does it really change your execution that much? A lot of these ECNs and market makers have liquidity that it's out of the roof. So if you choose any of these specific routes, you're probably going to get an execution right away, regardless. I do know that there may be some additional fees, commission-wise, if you select specific routes. I would double check with your account rep to see if there's any commissions or any added fees for you selecting a specific route, because it adds on additional overhead to your order. But intelligent is the technology that TradeStation uses to automatically send orders for execution. And it's not like there's a middleman, looking at your order and trying to pair up for TradeStation's advantage. Everything happens electronically, and I believe the technology is just there in place for it to route your order to one of these venues that has liquidity for your order. So that's the way that I would put it, Jem. So let me know if you need any more details on that. All right, everyone, that's my class for today. I hope that you guys had enjoyed, the presentation. If you have any questions, remember that we do Ask the Experts in a normal week, of course. Tomorrow, we don't have live sessions in the masterclass. We have the opening of the Spring Summit in the evening. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. On Friday, remember, is our next masterclass. We're going to do Easy Language Answered. So John was kind enough to join us this Friday because he's going to be off next week. So it's good that we have him on Friday. So keep that, make a note of that so that you can join us on Friday as well. So guys, again, the links for the Spring Summit are right at the top of the chat. Please check them out and make sure that you register. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon.